Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, we are going to start the Sutta study class for this Saturday. I hope you all get ready with the Sutta that we have been selected for this session. We originally conduct this class on Thursdays, but due to some relaxation and also some other activities at the temple, we have been having this class on Saturdays for 2 weeks now. The sutta we selected for today's discussion covers a vast area of Dhamma. However, we are planning to take some of the facts of the concept we selected and understand the concept for our benefits and happiness. I know that there are some individuals who participate for this program for the first time. Therefore, let me tell you the important aims of this Sutta study class. Studying discourses is really important for someone who strives hard to gain peace and happiness. Why? Buddha's real words are recorded in discourses. When we categorize the whole teaching of the Buddha and Vinaya into 9 limbs, he clearly mentioned that Sutta is the first one. Any Dhamma facts recorded under the name of Sutta are relevant to each and everyone. It means that everyone could understand the way the Buddha explained the Dhamma in the discourses. Many discourses are uttered by the Buddha because of some practical issues. Sometimes he delivered the suttas based on his own imagination, interpretations, and willingness to explain the Dhamma for the bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, devas, lay people, and so forth. So if you come to understand the Buddha's teaching purely, without any confusion, you may start reading discourses and you may be able to get a very clear, lucid knowledge about the teachings of the Buddha. And also you will have a clear understanding about yourself on the basis of the Buddha's teaching. This is why we take suttas for our discussion and try our best to analyze them as suitable as to our practical experiences. In addition, each sutta explains the Dhamma very well. If I take the statement of the Buddha about the nature of the Dhamma, excellent in the beginning, excellent in the middle, excellent in the end. Adi Kalyana, Paryosana Kalyana, Majje Kalyana. He said that his teaching is really, really tasty from the beginning of the Dhamma, and also if we go into a particular fact, the middle of it also is tasty, and also the last end of the Dhamma Sutta would be very nice. You can see that when you take a particular discourse from the Tripitaka and read it. They have very, very program style of explanation of the Dhamma. Therefore, reading suttas and analyzing them with the help of somebody or individually alone could be beneficial. So this is why we discuss the suttas in details. So now we would like to go into the sutta discussion with the selected discourse for today. As I email our sutta study friends, the sutta we discuss is Paticcasamuppada Vibhanga Sutta, or analysis of dependent co-origination. Now you have a sense of understanding about the topic we touch today. As I said earlier, it is one of the difficult and profound subjects in the Buddha's teaching. Therefore, within this 40 minutes time, we could not understand the concept very well, but our best try is to read the discourse and try to get the glimpse of the Paticcasamuppada. I know that many of us have touched this topic most often in discussion in sermon, but you know what, we could not understand it fully. If I remind you the statement of Venerable Venerable Ananda, and also the Buddha's reply to Venerable Ananda, you may realize how deep this Dhamma is. Once Venerable Ananda, the one who knew many of the Dhamma Buddha explained, said that, I feel, Venerable Sir, that the Paticcasamuppada, as you explained, is very clear to me. Then Buddha interrupted Venerable Ananda and said that, don't say Ananda like that, don't say Ananda like that. The Paticcasamuppada and the other teaching attached to it are deep, not appear to be deep, it is deep. It is profound, difficult to say. Many human beings, many living beings are being unable to see and realize this deep Dhamma, go from this life to another and cycle in this samsara with suffering, not knowing this reality. So Buddha clearly mentioned that the Paticcasamuppada, the spirit of the Buddha's teaching, is deep and mostly profound, which is not easy to understand just by reading a discourse. I'm not discouraging you saying this, but encouraging you to read more and think about more about the topic we are going to discuss today. Let me start the discourse directly, then you will get what this discourse especially express. The name of the sutta again, Paticcasamuppada Vibhanga. The very name, very title of the discourse explain that Paticcasamuppada Vibhanga. It is an analysis of Paticcasamuppada. What is the meaning of Paticcasamuppada? Is there any special meaning of the word Paticcasamuppada? Can we break this word into various subcategories just to simplify the term? Yes, we could. But I'm afraid of doing this because some people used to get some sort of misunderstanding, but I do it very carefully. Samuppada means arising together. Uppada, as you know, Uppada is arising. Arising of a feeling, arising of a thought, arising of a being. We could use this word Uppada to any of those things. Some, with the addition some to the front of the Uppada, we mean arising together. Then Paticca. What is the meaning of Paticca? These things arise together with causes and condition. Paticca means with causes or reasons, not without reason. They arise with reason. So basically Paticcasamuppada means origin together with causes and condition. That's why we term this Pali word into English clearly, that dependent co-origination. Everything and anything we discuss in the Buddha's teaching, depend on something. If we take akusala, unskillfulness we talk about, such as greed, hatred, ignorance, then what do you call attachment, craving, every those akusala feelings arises based on something else. If we take the kusala factors such as renunciation, kindness, compassion, wisdom, samadhi, they are also coming based on something else. So we cannot find anything in the Buddha's teaching about the world, about the life, without the causes and condition. But we should be careful that things arise not with one cause. Buddha said many causes could come together and make a result. So Paticcasamuppada, the Pali word means dependent co-origination, depending on many things, things arise. So this discourse is really important because of that. And Paticcasamuppada Vibhanga, the sutta's name is Paticcasamuppada Vibhanga. It means we have the analysis of things that Buddha explained about the arising and passing due to causes and conditions. Let us go into the discourse and understand how the Buddha explained Paticcasamuppada there. At Savatthi, Buddha explained this particular discourse to a group of bhikkhus. Buddha said there, "Bhikkhus, I will teach you dependent origination and I will analyze it for you. Listen to that and attend closely. I will speak." I was telling the other day that the Buddha started a special sermon with taking attention from the audience, whether they are monks or nuns or lay people. He was able to draw the attention by saying such words. I'm going to tell you this, so you need to listen to it carefully and remember them or reflect them. So this is how a great teacher always start their, his or her teaching. We can see that from the Buddha in this discourse and in other discourses. "Yes, Venerable Sir," those bhikkhus replied. Then the Buddha started the sermon. You know what? The Buddha always did this particular thing. He did not want listeners to have a passive listening. It means he did not allow listeners to sit still and look at him and listen to whatever he says. Buddha always put the questions forward for listeners to think. Or it doesn't mean necessarily that the listeners should answer immediately, but the Buddha started with the questions. We can see that particular behavior of the Buddha in this discourse. What bhikkhus is dependent origination? So Buddha started the discourse by asking a question. What is the dependent origination? What is the Paticcasamuppada? Very simple question. But Buddha did not expect the audience to answer this question. It is to arouse the curiosity of the bhikkhus there. With ignorance, Buddha started. With ignorance as condition, volitional formation come to be. With volitional formation, consciousness come to be. So we have this phrase in Pali as avijja paccaya sankara, sankara paccaya vijnana, and so on. Let me finish the reading first. with volitional formation as condition, consciousness, with consciousness as condition, name and form, with name and form as conditions, the six sense bases, with the six sense bases as condition, craving, with craving as condition, clinging, with clinging as condition, existent, bhava, with existent as condition, birth, with birth as condition, aging and death, then sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, despair come to be. Such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. This because is called dependent origination. So Buddha explained a chain of factors that cause to suffering. So Buddha started what is dependent origination. It doesn't mean that he explained everything in the dependent co-origination. He started to say with ignorance as the first cause or first reason in the chain, there is mental formation. From ignorance, as a requisite condition, come fabrication. In other words, what do you mean by ignorance anyway? What do you mean by fabrication or sankhara? So we have to understand these single terms in the long run, because they mean a lot for us to understand ourselves and the Dhamma. So basically, avidya, ignorant, means not knowing the reality, not knowing what is going on. Basically, if I explain this fact with the sutta references, not knowing means, or ignorant means, being able to understand things as they are means the misunderstanding or being able to understand the Four Noble Truths as they are. What are the Four Noble Truths? Then the noble truth of suffering, dukkha arya satya. The second one, the noble truth of arising or causes of suffering, dukkha samudaya satya. Then the third one, the noble truth of cessation of suffering, the dukkha nirodha arya satya. The last one, the fourth one, is about the path, the noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering, dukkha nirodha gamini patipada arya satya. So if one is not aware of the Four Noble Truths, it is called ignorance. Ignorance means not knowing the Four Noble Truths as they are. Now we can see the general usage of the word ignorance or ignorant. We can use that. I was ignorant at that time, that's why I could not hear you. I was ignorant about what you said about the coronavirus. So we use this word ignorance or ignorant for normal things. But it does not mean that we mean that not knowing the Four Noble Truths. We may have come across many educated people who are educated about various subjects of living. So we cannot say that they are uneducated, but they could not be able to put into wise category in the Buddha's teaching unless they know about the Four Noble Truths. In other words, no matter how educated people are, if they do not know about the suffering as it is, the causes of suffering as they are, and the cessation and also the path leading to the cessation of suffering or unsatisfactory, they are ignorant. So simply understand ignorance in that way. So when ignorance become a condition, what we have after is sankhara. Sankhara also is a big word. Sankhara, we find sankhara in many teachings, in many set of teachings. Sankara here is the results of ignorance. It is said here, from ignorance or avidya as a requisite conditions come fabrication or results fabrication. So fabrication is because of the ignorance. So what is Sankara? Sankara means three type of mental, verbal, and physical fabrication. Bodily fabrication, kaya sankara, and sometimes we have kayika sankara, so we can see the difference of them. Basically, bodily fabrication, and vachi sankara, verbal fabrication, and mano sankara or chitta sankara, mental fabrication. We can have these three in the umbrella term sankara or fabrication or mental formation. So when ignorance predominantly active in our mind, we have verbal fabrication, mental fabrication, as well as bodily fabrication, and they are all geared by ignorance. When there is no ignorance, we have sankara, three types of sankara, but they are wholesome. So we can talk that later, but for just a quick understanding, I am saying that when ignorance becomes the predominant quality of our mind, everything else in the order become unwholesome. So keep that in mind. Then we go to next one, that is from fabrication as a requisite condition comes consciousness. So based on consciousness, with sankara as the condition, we have consciousness, vijnana. So sankara, I told you sankara as three ways, in three ways. Now based on whatever these sankaras, with ignorance, we create consciousness. This consciousness also is misunderstood very much because the concept is not easy to understand. Therefore, from the Buddha's time up to date, there have been many educated people and uneducated people think that vijnana is something permanent, which some vijnana is something going from this life to the other, and vijnana is something solid, and it is the soul. So there are such views have been circulating among people about vijnana, because it is one of the difficult and most hidden factors of the Buddha's teaching. But it is it could be understood in a simple way, as the Buddha said. In this discourse, we can take vijnana as a single concept which is attached to our senses. We find in the discourses vijnana explained as eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, intellect consciousness. Friends, it means that consciousness is the ability of our mind to know something, basically sensory experiences, and it is the ability to attach to our senses. So we do not know where our mind is inside the body. It could be mostly attached to the brain or the heart, or maybe everywhere in the body. It is not a problem for us, but we have the part of our mind working always with the six senses. If I touch my nose, I feel it as soon as I put my finger there. So that is because of body consciousness, because this belongs to the sensory base called body, and I put my finger over here. It's between the bodily body, and I feel body consciousness. If you put a chocolate on your tongue, you feel the taste of the chocolate. It is because of the consciousness there. So consciousness is always something of our mind which attached to the physical senses, five senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Then how the sixth sense called mind could have mind consciousness? Because mind is attached to physical senses. If the physical senses are active, then that is the mind consciousness. So these are the primary, very basic ability of our mind attached to attached to this body. So sankara, or the mental formation or fabrication as the condition, what arises after is this eye consciousness, ear consciousness, and all this consciousness. I told you as a warning at the beginning that consciousness is one of the difficult, mostly misunderstood concept. Even you question why then Buddha talks about traveling vijnana from this life to another, descending vijnana from another life to this life, and what goes from this life to another. So people are talking about such topics, topic of conversation. That is because they misunderstood the concept of vijnana. But vijnana is very momentary, and based on vijnana we create karma, we create other constructive mental status. So that travel as a with the changes constantly to from this moment to another. But I'm not putting here a self there, permanent entity there, but it also change in between. So consciousness means basically sensory part of our mind. So here we say based on sankara we have consciousness. Based on consciousness we have then vijnana paccaya nama rupam. From the consciousness as a requisite conditions come name and form. Nama, rupa. The very Pali word for name and form are nama and rupa. What do you mean by nama and rupa? Let's take rupa of form. Form is not anything else but the four great elements. Satara Maha Bhuta. The Patavi, solidity, Patavi, Apo, cohesion, Tejo, heat, Vayo, the air. So these are the four great elements in the teaching. So every physical things that we can touch, that we can see, that we can hear, because of the four great elements. So form is these four great elements and also derived elements. Because of the four great elements, we create rupa or form in the mind, that those form are also because of the great four elements existing with changes. We should stress that with changes outside of our mind, outside of nama components. So that is called form or rupa. And nama means, let me get the exact page. Nama means five components of our mind, five pillars of our mind. Basically, people used to explain nama with this word nama, the four aggregates of five aggregates of clinging, such as Vedana, feeling, Sanya, perception, and Sankara, mental formation, and consciousness. But it is not the nama. They are of course nama, but when we define the term nama, we used to take another set, starting feeling, vedana, perception, sanya, intention, manasikara, chetana, attention, manasikara, and contact, phassa. The order could be not right, but these are the 5 components of nama category. So nama rupa are there because of consciousness. If I go into details, it takes long time, but if I simply explain how consciousness could be the key factor for nama and rupa to be like this, you will understand that. Now I told you that consciousness is the representation of our mind in the senses. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and so forth. So when we have our eyes in active force, like we see pictures, then eye consciousness arises because our eyes are active, and some sort of pictures or scenes are there for our eyes to see. Then we say that we see this man over there. Then eye consciousness has already begun, and what are the name components? Vedana, sanya, chetana, feelings, perception, and intention. Phassa means contacts, and manasikara, attention. So as soon as our eyes meets the pictures outside, rupa, these 5 components function immediately and to make an idea. So vedana, sanya, chetana, feeling, perception, and intention comes into being with the other 2, phassa, contact, and also attention. So that's how nama and rupa work together. So that is happening because of the consciousness. Consciousness is the mediator or the creator of both form and rupa. Once again, if I say this from using other words, name and form, or rupa or nama, could come together because of the consciousness. So that's how consciousness could be the requisite conditions for name and form in the formula. So let's go on to the other factors. Our intention in taking this discourse for discussion to understand the concept very well and the connection between. But I'm saying that there are more details to be discussed in each single factors. But time is not permit for us. Now, from name and form as requisite conditions come the 6 sense bases. Due to name and form's existence or become the condition, after that we have 6 sense bases. What are the 6 sense bases? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. I know that it's pretty hard how this formula could happen, because Bhante talked about consciousness, and then he said that consciousness would be the key conditions for name and form. Then name and form again create salayatana or 6 sense bases. How could that be? So there could be confusion or situation where you could not get the concept and the relation between the concept fully. But for the moment, understand that 6 sense bases come into exist because of the name and form. Then what are the 6 sense bases? Eye, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. Then we have the next link of the Paticcasamuppada. From the six sense bases as a requisite condition comes contact. So now it is pretty easy to understand that sensory contact is because of the senses. Unless you cannot see from your eyes, there is no pictures of any sort of images coming in. So contact or sensory impingement is because of the senses. Then contact could be explained in 6 ways, as many discourses says. Phenomena contacting the eye, phenomena contacting the ear, phenomena contacting the nose, such as likewise we have 6 type of contact. So now based on contact we have feelings, Vedana. So Vedana or feelings, mental and physical, both come into excess because of sensory experience. So if I touch my hands over here, I feel it. So I feel it because I touch it. So touching is contact. Touching creates contact. Then if my touching is so smooth and I feel pleasant feeling. If my touch is so hard like this, I feel pain. So we have feelings related to the 6 senses and related to the time, related to skillfulness and as unskillfulness, feeling could be different. Basically, we have 3 types of feeling: pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, neutral feeling. And if we take the 6 senses, we have feelings born from eyes as the base, and we have feelings born based on ears and so forth. By seeing we create pleasant feeling. Then we call it feeling based on eyes. Maybe pleasant feeling based on eye, maybe unpleasant feeling based on eye, and maybe bad feeling based on bad hearing. And we can categorize feeling, Vedana, into various ways. The maximum number of feelings Buddha talks about in the teaching is 108. So we can discuss them later, but for your understanding, I would say that feeling could be categorized into various ways depending on the time, depending on the senses, and also depending on what it brings. Now we have from feeling, as a requisite condition comes craving. Now craving is because of feeling. It does not mean that every type of feelings are bad. For the moment you may understand that if the feeling produces craving, all kind of feeling could be bad. No, we can because if there are feelings that do not subject to create any attachment, those feelings could be wholesome. Suppose you meditate well and let go of 5 hindrances. It means you are in samadhi, in the first jhana. You have a very nice soothing feelings in your body and mind. That feeling never creates craving. That feeling never creates attachment. That is producing some very high type of feeling against craving and attachment. So I want to show you that all kinds of feeling do not create craving. But at this moment we have to understand that ignorance exists on the top level as the first cause in this formula so far. The chain of, or the links of suffering start from the ignorance, avijja. When avijja become the first cause of the chain, we can expect that all fabrications, consciousness, name and form, then six sense bases and their contact, now feeling, and then not necessarily to discuss about the craving and so forth. Feeling basically could be geared by ignorance. So that feeling geared by ignorance create craving. So that's how we should understand. So from feeling as a requisite conditions comes craving. So here we have six type of craving. Usually we basically discuss craving in three ways, like craving for sensory stimulus or sensual pleasures, and then the craving for existence, bhavatanha. First one is kamatanha, craving for sensual stimulus or sensual pleasures. Second one, bhavatanha, craving for existing or desire for existence. Then vibhavatanha, desire for non-existent or craving for non-existence. So, but these three types of cravings are created by craving for seeing, craving for forms, craving for sounds, craving for smell, craving for taste, craving for physical sensation, through contact, and craving for ideas. So based on the six senses, feelings are arisen, and feeling could arise. Then craving also could arise based on the feelings, based on the feelings. So basically we can find these six types of craving there. Now, from craving as the requisite conditions come clinging and clinging upadana or attachment. Popularly we translate that upadana, word upadana is attachment or clinging or grasping. So craving, now we need to see the difference between craving and clinging here. Craving is the mental state in which we have a very quick burning like attachment. Suppose I see a beautiful flower bouquet and instantly I like it. That type of instant delightful feeling is called craving. But attachment is somewhat different from that. Suppose you see many flowers and many bouquet of flowers in the market, so you don't attach. But when you see a different flowers in same category, you might like it. Now, earlier by the first sight you didn't create anything, but you by staying there for longer and combining your needs further, you might create an idea, okay, I buy this one because I could put it on the table and everybody who comes to my house appreciate it, and then it is a good thing for me. And so that's how you create attachment to particular flower basket. So this is a very simple, maybe not very good example, but attachment is always gluing like things. We may create a lot of craving, but attached to one or two. That kind of simple example would be good enough. So attachment is more severe in the sense of suffering, because when we have attachment, when we create attachment, it's very difficult to come out. It's very difficult to get our mind out of the attached part. So we have attachment in numbers here. let me get the. So attachment also has attachment to sensual pleasures. So and attachment kamupadana. We attach to whatever we see, whatever we hear, whatever we smell, and so forth. So for example, some people attach to chocolate. So craving would be there as it is instant and rise and pass away, but some people would not like to eat some chocolate because they have created attachment to particular chocolate. So that's attachment to sensual pleasures. Then attachment to kamupadana, attachment to views. We have been created so many views, such as I am better than others, and they are better than these people, and this is better than this. I know, so that kind of views are there. The attachment to sensual pleasures could also be attachment to views. So they are interrelated. So attachment to views is also upadana. Sometimes people say, I wake up at 6 and I do it every day and eat something after that, and I go to work around 8, and according to my principle, life principle, I need to keep everything neat and tidy. And people have this kind of individual rules and regulations in their life. So when things go wrong, they would angry. They cannot bear the changes. These days people stay at home, which never expected to happen. So they could not bear that pain. That is because you attach to work, you attach to see the environment, you attach to ideas that I should go here and there, playing and going on shopping and seeing people. These are attachment to ideas. Ditti upadana, kamupadana. If you did not have kamupadana, attachment to sensual stimulus and views, you would be able to stay at home without any worry, without any problem. If you are staying at home without any worry, without any problem, please be happy, because you do not have these two types of attachment in a gross level. Maybe you have them in a subtle level, but you have done so many good things to cut off the gross part of the two types of attachment. Be happy about that. It is a manifestation of Dhamma. Right? Suppose if we lost the connection of our phone and also internet and have to stay at home for longer, still some people are not worried about, because they have enough food to eat, they have other requirements to live, so they are not worried. They would be thinking that we wait until everything fixed, don't worry. That is because they have less attachment to sensual pleasures and also views. I took this fact just to show you how attachment, two types of attachment are. So please try to understand the concept well. Then attachment to rituals and practices. Silabbata upadana. Sometimes people think that they could be purified themselves by doing such practices, like bathing, like going to a particular place for worship, and killing animals in the name of the God, and also putting flowers in front of the Buddha statue, thinking that it brings nirvana. Of course, we have also put flowers. You can see that behind me on the altar. But we do that kind of practices just to make an opportunity to reflect our mind. but just by offering flowers, we know that we could not go into nirvana based on the act we do, but it is providing us an opportunity to practice sila, sati, mindfulness, and by reflecting the qualities of the Buddha, we may be able to overcome hindrances. So the meaning behind putting flowers in front of the Buddha or in front of the God would be taking some time to cleanse our mind from impure thoughts. Otherwise, just that very fact, very act could not cleanse our mind. But some people do that. Some people worship the statue thinking that this is the God, and we say all the problems and things for the statue. But it does not happen. These are wrong practices and rituals, and attachment to wrong practices and rituals. Suppose you could not, these days you could not come to temple. Does that mean that you are devoid of the Dhamma? You are devoid of practices? No. Suppose you could not come to temple for years and years because of this virus and second wave, third wave of corona and so forth. I do not wish, but if that happened, you should not worry, because the Dhamma Buddha explained is something inside and mental, and it could be practiced alone. We do not want a physical place and just to get enlightened. Of course, we need to keep this place as a means to get the idea of the Dhamma into your understanding, and monks should stay here and you should support them. It is another fact, but it is a scenario that I am taking. Even if you do not have such places, you would be able to practice the Dhamma. So attachment to rite and ritual should be understood very well. Otherwise, the good practices like Buddha Puja and alms giving could be wrong practices and rituals for people who do not understand the concept well. At the time of the Buddha, some mendicants went to the river early in the morning and washed themselves, thinking that they could purify themselves, which is the wrong practices and rituals. They had attached to it. They have clingings for that. If they did not do that for some reason, they would in suffering, because they feel that they didn't practice their Dhamma. Right? So attachment to rituals is subtle, like the other two attachment we explained. So the last one, attachment to upadana, to oneself, self, attavad upadana, which is very deep, but basically we have attached to us, and it could be tested when something fall down immediately, and you will be upset. Suppose somebody throw you a rubber snake, so you will be screaming. Suppose a bug or a mosquito appear in front of you, you will scream. So that is because of attavad upadana. It is so subtle. So we never mean to go into details of each factor today, but it happens because things go like that. We need to understand the individual factor. Let me finish this. From clinging, as the requisite condition comes becoming. So clinging or upadana or attachment cause existence or becoming. Kama bhava, rupa bhava, arupa bhava. There are three types of existence. So becoming means existing some sort of craving or attachment into a certain period. Actually, it is a manifestation of attachment in a given period of time. So becoming is not anything else but existing of the attachment. We talk about 4 types of attachment, and their existence is called bhava, in this formula. Now we have, from becoming as a requisite condition comes birth. Birth means a rising of being, a rising of other things as well. So the jati or the birth is not coming alone without any reason. It comes with reason, and the very reason is existent bhava. From birth as a requisite conditions comes aging, sickness, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, distress or despair. In Pali we have a very nice word which I do not want to repeat. So due to birth we have all kinds of suffering or unsatisfactory state of our life, starting from aging. Unless we are born to this world, there is no one to age, no one to experience aging. And aging, sicknesses, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and there are other suffering states like we wish something and we don't get it, we do not wish something and we get it, and 5 aggregates of clinging are called, in short, suffering or unsatisfactory. So this is the, so Buddha said finally here, such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. So now we come to a conclusion how suffering, how unsatisfactoriness come into being. So it start from ignorance. Basically, because of ignorance, we create all kind of things, factors we discuss here. Because of ignorance, there is sankhara or formation, and that sankhara could not be wholesome, because ignorance is the first cause. Then consciousness could be bad, and then name and form, then 6 senses, and then contact, feelings, craving, attachment, then existence, then birth, and then because of the birth all kinds of sufferings arise. So this is how Buddha said the mass of suffering come into being. So friends, time is over now. Basically understand that the suffering we experience right now or any time of our life are because of ignorance, because of craving, because of attachment. So that formula is very clear, but understand that Paticcasamuppada or the dependent origination is not going one way. There may be other ways to explain. Not only ignorance cause for the immediate link of the formula to arise, but it cause attachment to arise as well. And attachment also feed ignorance. Craving could be the cause for ignorance. So they are interrelated. They function as a web. So that is why Buddha warned Venerable Ananda not to say that you understand everything about Paticcasamuppada. It is so deep, it is so profound, he said. So this is very reason why the Buddha said that. So the discourse is called Paticcasamuppada Vibhanga, analysis of Paticcasamuppada. So now we understand how the Buddha analyzed Paticcasamuppada formula. But at the last minute of the discussion, I want to say that the spirit or the basis of this formula is the theory of Paticcasamuppada. It is explained that if one factor is there as the condition, the other arises. For example, from ignorance as the requisite conditions, sankhara of mental formation arises. Based on ignorance, sankhara arises. Based on sankhara, consciousness arises. So when ignorance exists or when ignorance is there, there is sankhara or mental formation. when ignorance is not there, there is no opportunity for sankhara to come to be there. So when ignorance cease, or when ignorance extinct, sankhara could not hold on to, that should also go away. So this is the theory of Paticcasamuppada. When this exists, this exists. When this arises, that arises. When this does not exist, this could not be existing too. When this ceases, that ceases too. This is the Paticcasamuppada theory. So keep that in mind, and we can discuss that later on. So that is the end of today's Sutta study class. Unfortunately, we could not cover the whole discourse because it is too deep. I could have read the discourse from the beginning to the end without any explanation, but I think that is not what we expect. We take a discourse to understand the Dhamma there into a certain extent. So that's what we do. So we can take the other part of the discourse next week. So friends, try to analyze the discourse and the Dhamma facts there further, and try to apply them into your own verbal, physical and mental behaviors. Having said that, we would like to bless you. May you be well, happy and peaceful. So according to Sinhala culture, we are going to have New Year in 2 days. So our New Year's celebration could be on April 14, but this year we could not have the celebrations because of the physical and social distancing as a method to contain the outbreak of coronavirus. Otherwise, it was supposed to have the ceremony tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We miss it, but we have the Dhamma in mind to accept everything as they are. When changes happen, we know that it is a reality. It, Sinhala or Canadian or Western or whatever New Year are human constructions, human agreements. They are based on some reason. So we know that when conditions are not there for the celebrations to happen, it does not happen. At the same time, I want to bless you for this Easter Sunday tomorrow. Many people wish to have gathering with family members. Some people wish to go to church and do religious activity. Of course, it was yesterday that many people planned to go, but it did not happen either. So this is life. I encourage you to practice mindfulness, wisdom, perseverance, and fill your heart with compassion and kindness more and more, because this time of our life has showing us many things in our life. If we fail to do that, I think we waste of time. So take this Dhamma advice from the Buddha and practice good qualities, and then you don't miss many opportunities in your life. Tomorrow would be a beautiful day. We come to this place with Pante Sunita to meditate and chant blessings at 9 a.m. And until then, we may have blessed life, good night, peaceful night, and may you also would be able to enjoy your time with the Dhamma. So let's collectively practice the Dhamma together with chanting, with meditation, and also Dhamma discussion. Wishing you good health and peace of mind. I remain here. May you be well, happy and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.